Hey friends, Justin back with a review of And Just Like That, episode 9. Can you believe we've been through 9 episodes? This episode was called No Strings Attached, and I really had fun with it. It was a really whimsical episode, and it kind of reminded me of the old Sex and the City. You know, we're really comfortable with our girls at this point, and just going along as they're having a lot of fun. So let's jump right in. I've got my water. I hope you guys are ready. So Carrie's gonna do a date do-over with Peter. We talked about it last week, and I knew that this was not the end of Peter. So she's gonna go back out with the teacher again for date number 2 or try number 2. And I'm glad about that because like we talked about, they had really great chemistry, you know? And they're so suited at this point in their life that it didn't make sense for them not to be compatible. But we're going to get back to Carrie and the teacher. The elephant in the room for me is Miranda is in town. She's in New York with the rest of the girls. So what that says to me is that Cleveland went just fine, you know. It was not an issue for Miranda to show up and surprise Che, but they're doing well. They're seeing each other and having a lot of fun. Lizette, the downstairs neighbor who I'm kind of taking to a little bit, she comes up to check on Carrie. You know, apparently they see mutual benefit in one another. So she's done a little research about Carrie and kind of found out that she's been, you know, at one point an it girl of New York as well. So she asked Carrie to wear some of her jewelry. Jewelry played a big theme in this episode, so she moves around the jewelry on her hands to accommodate Lizette's ring. And they see benefit in working with one another. When Lizette came up this time, Carrie looked great. She was presentable, and, you know, it was a cool exchange. When Anthony and Miranda are talking, Lily screams bloody murder. Oh my goodness. I got nervous. You know, I didn't know what had happened, if something had gone on Instagram, she had been exposed, but she's having her period. And she's got to decide, either get into the tampon game or don't go to the Hamptons to this pool party. And, you know, at that age, not going to the party, that's out. That's a no-go. Oh my goodness, are you ready? Miranda and Shay are out on their date. And they've decided, you know, they're just talking, being themselves, and having fun with one another. And some fans come up to Che. Can we get your autograph? Can we take a picture? And Miranda introduces herself as the girlfriend. And you immediately see Che's face drop. Oh, that made me nervous. And then the girls, the fans, go on to talk about Che's infamous hookups all around the country. Ooh, that made me completely insecure, because it's like, you know, while you're seeing Miranda, are you also seeing a bunch of other people? Are you just living this wild, legendary lifestyle? Talk to me, guys. Could you date someone who is an infamous hookup girl or guy whose escapades are known on the internet? Maybe you know, when I was a teenager or my early 20s, but certainly not now. That would be such a turnoff for me to know that people are aware of your sex life. But Che, you know, in her way, she's comical. She plays it off, and they go back to having fun. You know, Miranda does not confront Che about the fact that she's a serial dater, and Che does not confront Miranda at that time about putting labels and saying that she's the girlfriend. Then we get to my girls. Seema and Carrie are out on the town. I've been waiting for them to hang out, you know, and really pick up their storyline for a couple episodes. Carrie is like me. She's like, girlfriend, I've been standing on these heels. Let's bail, you know. And Seema says, it's my birthday, and I just want to dance. She didn't feel comfortable making a big deal about the fact that it was her birthday. And that says something. You know, there's a few things about Seema, as strong as she is. The reluctance to talk about the men she's dating to her parents, or lack thereof, and not wanting to, you know, tell Carrie it was her birthday. There's some self-esteem issues there. But, you know, that kind of goes hand in hand with that really strong outward persona. So that's interesting to me that she's such a nuanced character. Carrie says, oh, it's your birthday. I'm going to handle this. Let me go up to the doorman and bribe our way into the club. And it fails completely. He might as well have called them Nana. You know, the club is at capacity, and was basically insulted when they tried to offer him money. It was like, ladies, it's a no-go. You know, we're not going to let you into this club. But they go out for wine. They go, you know, to, I don't want to say their environment, as if, you know, older people, you know, need to be at a bar like they went to, but it was more their element. And, you know, they talk about being thankful for one another, and it was really, really cute. Getting back to Charlotte, Lily consents to tampon talk. They're going to, and it's at the worst possible time. Now, she knows better at her age than as guests are arriving to be the center of attention. Now, I know kids are bratty, but are they this bratty? You guys tell me. Have you had girls that are 13, 14, 15? Are they like this? Because Lily really showed her behind in this episode. Anthony has brought this new hot date, hot to his standards, hot date to Miranda and Harry's house, and the first thing out of his mouth is that he's a Holocaust denier. You know, they're having challah, it's a Jewish dinner, and the first thing he says is, you guys know the Holocaust was a hoax. I screamed, you know, no, with laughter. You know, what a ridiculous thing, but it said to me that, you know, Anthony's not great with communication. You have to know the people that you're bringing home, that you're bringing into other people's space. And he should have let the guy know, you know, this is going to be a kosher dinner. This is going to be this or that or the other. And gotten to know that guy's frame of mind. It was really fun. He says, out, you know, go. But you never should get to that point. Talk to people. Okay. Have a sip of wine or your water or whatever. Carrie's date. Carrie finally goes on the date with the, or meets up with the guy, the teacher. It was at a charming setting. She's standing outside. She's dressed. He pulls up in a taxi cab. It's, you know, it's old school New York. And she drops the ball. What did you guys think? She can't go through with the date. You know, she takes her ring off and then puts on Big's ring and talks to, you know, Peter about the fact that she just can't let go. And I wrote here in parentheses, silly. Go to the dinner, have a glass of wine or two with the guy. No harm, no foul. It's just a date. And so to put all of your stuff onto him, I thought that was really unfair. What did you guys think? Should she? I think she should have just stayed for the date. But, you know, let me know in the comments. Lily and Charlotte have hilarious tampon talk, and the hollow burns. You know, they're the comic relief to me. You know, Charlotte has always been. And, you know, really cute, but I just can't believe how high maintenance Lily has become. She was such a sweet, sweet girl. Miranda shows up unannounced to Shay's house with cookies. because their communication is off, Miranda doesn't know if there's another woman in the apartment. I believe there was a guy's name spoken at the diner when the fans were talking about her escapades. So I'm confused there. But Miranda doesn't know what's up and what's down. Shay opens the door and her face basically falls upon seeing Miranda. I'm not a fan of it. You know, I think Shay is becoming a more mature character. But I'm still not I guess I'm not a fan of non-traditional dating. And Shay says as much, that this is not a traditional thing. But Miranda asks, what the heck are we doing? And, Shay says, I want to make it very clear that I'm not your girlfriend and we're not dating. Yikes to me. It wasn't necessary to say. All you had to do was say, it's not that serious yet. We're still getting to know one another. Labels may not be appropriate at this time, but to kind of be cruel after Miranda has already said she's the girlfriend, ixnay for me. But I liked, Shay says, come into the apartment. What about the cookies that you brought? And Miranda says, I'm going to eat those cookies my damn self on my way back home. And I liked that. It was saying, I'm not going to give in to you, 100% all the time. I really liked that. Taking back a little bit of her power. I mean, you're a 55-year-old woman. You have to stand in your own truth and not let someone take all of the wind out of your sails. It's a lesson I need to learn. Steve shows up to the painting event. This event turns into kind of like, not a reunion, but a meeting of all of these characters that we've gotten to know. And Steve and Brady show up. I just love Steve. No, he's not a perfect character. Yes, he cheated on her in the past. But by God, he's not ready to give up, Naya comes out, Professor Naya, everyone meets. Nicole R.E. Parker gets out of this huge stretch limo, they're completely out of touch. But they're all there for a common purpose and for a good purpose. And it all, ends up working out. I loved that Seema came and she says, it's cute, but I'm going to be the white lady. I'm going to write the check and go sit and smoke my cigarettes, okay? That was funny. But Nicole R.E. Parker, when Naya says, if you can arrange lunch for 100, that'd be great. And Nicole R.E. Parker says, no problem. And she, eventually she gets the food truck out there, and that was really awesome. I like that they redeemed her character a little bit. She was dingy last week. I did not like that Andre, Naya's partner, keeps bugging her about children. This lady has made it clear that basically she's not interested. She has gone down that road enough, and I'm getting angry personally. She has gone down that road enough, and to continue to needle her and to make her feel less than for not having kids, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And if I were her, I would walk away from that relationship. But we'll come back there. She talks about how he's basically programmed into wanting these things when they have found happiness. They have found each other. They found purpose in being artists and teachers and being successful Black people. Seema's outside smoking her cigarette, and Seema meets a guy. He walks up and tells her, "You look like a boss." Perfect, because she is. And the guy that's for her has got to recognize that and has got to respect it. And I couldn't be happier. I'm over the moon that, there's a character that saw her for her and appreciates it. He's no baby, he's no pushover himself. But to give her the respect where it's due, that's what we all want, right? Upstairs, Steve and Carrie are painting, And Steve starts to ask questions. When did this evolution of Miranda start? And Carrie deflects, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. You know, she acts like she doesn't know anything. You know, I have nothing to do with this. She should have just spoken and been very clear. You know, I was blindsided by this just as well as you are. It's something new that I'm wrapping my mind around. This is not a secret that I've kept from you, you know, as a friend as well for a long time. But you need to sit down and talk more with Miranda. But she hee-haws and she runs away and steps in paint. She's washing her shoe that she steps in paint. Big's ring fell down the drain. Now, I was a little bit happy, but she freaks out. She freaks out. What am I going to do? I can't let go. I can't let go. And so Steve retrieves the ring for her. But why did you wear the ring to a painting event? Why wouldn't you put it on a necklace if you had to bring it with you, or store it at home for the day? If it's something that's that important to you. Now, that was silly. You know, what do you guys think about that? But they kneel down together. You know, Steve brings her lemonade and says, I'm never taking this ring off. I don't think I'll ever, you know, basically never find love again. And Carrie is counseling herself as she's talking to him, like, you don't ever think you will find someone else or move on? And she realizes what holding on looks like from the outside in. And she's looking at her own situation saying, maybe I look silly. You know, maybe it's not silly to hold on and to still be in love with my husband, but to be walking around holding on to a token and freaking out in the street, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. And so, but we'll get right back to Carrie. Shay calls Miranda while they're at the event. I think they were standing at the food truck, and Miranda doesn't answer. I like that. Take back a little bit of your power. Now, I don't like games and things like that, but she's pulling back a little bit, and because, you know, you're giving me all these signs and symbols that I'm not welcome. So I'm not going to continue to die on this cross for you every day or every other day. And I like that. Naya, you know, finally talks to Andre and says, why are you giving up on us, basically? And he's insensitive. You know, he basically says, I'm unhappy and I shouldn't have to give up on my dream of having kids. Why can't they talk about, you know, start to have a conversation about adopting? Why can't they talk about moving forward as a team? And I think Professor Naya is just so insecure, and it seems like this man is leaving. You know, he's basically already checked out from the relationship. And ixnay for me. You know, I'd rather be single. To round out the comedic humor, Charlotte has her period. You know, the stress of dealing with Lily and all of this running back and forth, she finally has her period again. So she's, it's either what Miranda says is a flash period, or she's not menopausal yet. But that was so funny, and her friends come to her defense and, you know, cover her and make sure that she's good. I love how they ended the episode with Seema and Carrie going out for a night of dancing again. It made me kind of want to go out and, you know, kind of have that nightclub experience. But what I really liked about it is when you're at the right place, when you're at the right club, you go to the front of the line. You know, I wrote here, go where you're wanted, go where you're celebrated. You know, they go right to the front of the line, and the new guy says, hey, boss lady, and lets them right in. You know, that's a life lesson. It's not about the club, but don't stay where you're not appreciated, where people are not opening up ropes for you. And I love that. I'm going through something, deciding between jobs and next chapters in my life, And it was such an important note for me to say, you know, go where people are clapping for you and where people are welcoming you instead of, you know, a stressful environment. So I loved it. This episode was really fun. It was just like the old Sex and the City episodes. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that Carrie is going to do round 3 with Peter. And I think third time is going to be a charm. What do you guys think? I think they are so suited for one another. But anyway, you know, and just like that, guys, here's the end of another fun review. I thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing for more Sex and the City and movie and TV related content. But we're 9 episodes in, guys, and I'm having a ball. Until next week, guys, cheers. I'll see you soon.